Hello and welcome to another edition of Kaleidoscope on Channels Television. I'm Anne Nwawadu. On the program today, we have a chat with the Chairman and Group Chief Executive Officer of OilServe Limited, Emeka Okwosa, on the organization's contribution in the oil and gas sector and initiatives to help develop communities. Once again, welcome. OilServe Limited is an oil and gas company that renders various services in engineering, procurement, construction, and much more. Incorporated in 1992, OilServe Limited is a leading provider of integrated engineering, procurement, construction, installation and commissioning pipelines and facilities company, which commenced operations in 1995. The company has pooled the expertise of highly qualified engineers, technicians and other support personnel to provide total quality service to multinationals and local oil and gas and power companies operating in Nigeria. OilServe has continued to optimize its growth using its resources as well as strategic alliance with international companies in specific areas of the industry. The company also offers services in sub-Saharan Africa. Its continuous drive for local content initiatives has not only helped in putting it on the forefront of local contemporaries, but has also provided reasons for it to enhance its resource base in order to compete with multinationals. With plans to further expand its business into several sectors, OilServe Limited is determined to make a positive difference in and outside Nigeria. Let's now hear from the Chairman and Group Chief Executive Officer of OilServe Limited, Emeka Okwosa. OilServe Limited has contributed its own quota in the oil and gas industry and, of course, related industries or associated industries. 30 years, almost 30 years down the line now. How would you describe the journey so far?
It's quite a journey that has come with every manner of challenges, a journey that has come with a lot of stories in terms of achievement. It's a journey that has placed OilServe and Nigeria squarely within the realms of service delivery in technical and technology-driven area of the oil and gas industry. And I can say almost 30 years ago in 1992, when OilServe was formed, till now, when we started, I never envisaged, not much as I was quite hopeful, I never envisaged what we have gotten to today. OilServe has gone through, first of all, having a vision, from having a vision and driving that vision to facing challenges, especially what happened in the middle 90s with the politics of Nigeria affecting virtually all sectors of life. And then going through that and then establishing OilServe as a company that is taking a center stage in the engineering, procurement, and construction, what we call it EPC in the oil and gas industry of pipelines and facilities. We've gone ahead to not only develop the company, but build a lot of capacity. And this capacity has seen us build up human beings in order to develop them. I mean, from employing just one person in 1995, thereabout, till today, when we have more than 1,200 people, it's a massive movement, so to say. It's a massive change. All I can say is I believe we have achieved a lot, but I don't think we have gotten to where we need to. I mean, for me, the strategy of life, if I may use that, if I may say that, is about setting goals and targets, developing accordingly, and then as soon as you reach that goal, set another goal, and keep moving, never stop. I believe there is so much to do in building up the capacity in Nigeria, in developing OilServe, and then developing Nigeria as a country, and that's what we're all about.
As one of the successful oil and gas companies in the Niger Delta region, how would you describe partnerships that you have been able to carry out over the years? Have these partnerships in any way helped you manage the hurdles that you have had to face?
Absolutely. You know, when you talk about Niger Delta, Niger Delta is peculiar. Peculiar in the sense it's an oil and gas bearing area. It's an oil and gas area in all its aspects, and with everything that comes with it, with the opportunities and the challenges. And in building up capacity in oil and gas industry in Niger Delta, we have gone through the original plan, which is dictated by international standards. I mean, if I take myself as an example, I developed my skills working for Schlumberger internationally. I worked all over the world for about 10 years before I came back to Nigeria. And that enabled me to have a foresight as far as standards are concerned. But when I hit the road, if I may again use that acronym, I hit the road in Niger Delta. I saw challenges, but I saw opportunities also, because challenges bring opportunities. Across board, building bridges is usually the key in life, in business, but more so in oil and gas industry in Niger Delta. We've been able to partner. When you talk of partnership, the most important partnership is the partnership and engagement with communities. They are a major stakeholder, and a lot of people have failed, a lot of companies have failed, but we have succeeded there because we understand the importance of that. We understand the significance of communities, and from time we treated communities in Niger Delta as partners, and that has made it possible for us to continue to do business there. I give you an example. In 2005 to 2007-8, at the height of disturbances in Niger Delta leading to militancy, many companies vacated Niger Delta. OilServe did not move. We rather grew our business there. We were possibly one of the very few companies that could enter into the swamp, carry out our activities, and come out. But besides the communities, we also have partnerships with the clients, whether they are IOCs, international oil companies, or local operating companies, or NNPC companies. We've managed to create that partnership that enables our clients to know that we are a major partner to them in terms of service delivery. I personally apply my own personal principles in the business I do, and that is to work with people, live with people, and understand that it is necessary to work together and be able to look after the interest of others apart from yours. And that has made a lot of difference. And in doing that, of course, we have invested, if I may use that word again, invested in the people. Apart from training them, we have done a lot of programs, community-related programs. We have done social responsibility projects that has attracted the community to us and made them look at us as being real and not just there in order to take advantage of them.
Which brings me to my next question on corporate social responsibility. So share with us some of those experiences, things you have done to add value to society.
Before I get to that, I would say, when I look at society, I've already stated that in terms of running my business, I reflect my way of life. When I look at society, I cut across board. In engaging the society, I look at what makes most impact to the society and how do you get about doing that. What are the vehicles that enable us to achieve those? Dealing with communities is one. Dealing with the churches, churches reach out to people in a wide scale. Doesn't matter what church it is. Reaching out to religious bodies, apart from churches, and then you go on and on. This enables you to reach out and be able to touch more people than you could have done privately by yourself. Now, with the communities, we, first of all, made sure we understood the community structures, that we know that we have the chiefs, you have the youth, you have the community development committees. So you bring everybody together, make sure you address the issues. One thing we know in Niger Delta particularly is that there is dearth of amenities originally, especially utilities like water, like education, schooling. Sometimes it goes beyond that, provision of foodstuff to help, and then giving contracts. In the Niger Delta, we have built schools. We have donated generating sets to power communities. We have also continuously supported the communities on health issues, like the period of COVID-19 in 2020. It was a challenging time. OilServe went ahead and imported COVID prevention and protection materials worth about $500,000, which we distributed across board. The communities got a lot. We gave to state governments. River State government we donated to. We donated to Anambra State. We donated to Enugu State. We donated to Abia State. And we also gave to the federal government through NNPC. And that way we reached out when people really had needs. And they covered every facet of materials, whether for protective or for testing or for all sorts. I mean, as I speak to you, I have a foundation, and our foundation is called Sir Emeko Kwosa Foundation. And Sir Emeko Kwosa Foundation has done a lot. I may emphasize here, it may take quite a few more minutes. We have used our foundation to address education. Education in the sense that, as we speak, I set up a convent called Dame Irene Okwosa Memorial Convent. I named it after my late mom, who was an educationist, and is for girl-child education. And as we speak, the school is built to take up to 700 to 750 students. As we speak, it's just below 400 and is scaling up. A couple of years ago, we commissioned a 4-story building that completely took out what was existing before and introduced a completely multidimensional block for classes and for other facilities. Currently, we are building a new hostel that will accommodate up to that 700 to 750, and other facilities, including the science laboratories. We are building also for the community a church called Christ Church Anglican Communion, which will be commissioned next year. We have built water systems and reticulated water systems. We've built roads and done erosion control, roads covering more than 2.5 kilometers, well paved with erosion control system. We have actually gone ahead to go beyond that, and we're also giving scholarships. And some people that are within the scholarship of the foundation are actually studying overseas, some in Nigeria, from secondary school all the way to university and higher education besides bachelor's. So in terms of CSR programs, in terms of how we reach out, we are doing a lot. We're building a specialist hospital, which will be commissioned this December. This specialist hospital has cost us millions of dollars. I won't mention how much it is, in terms of figure, but it's cost us millions of dollars. And it is a cardiology center. You may wish to know that it's so well planned and set up that we have major radiology equipment and diagnostic equipment like cath lab, digital cath lab, CT scan, digital X-ray system, and all manners of systems that can treat people like you will have them be treated overseas. It will enable us also to undertake open heart surgery. That is the level of what we were going into. In line with that, over years, actually, we have been sponsoring medical programs for the past 10 years. But we sponsored just another one, which is actually the biggest one we've done so far, where we brought in close to 20 medical doctors, most of them from the United States of America, because we are executing this hospital project with a foundation called VOOM Foundation, which is based out of College Station in Texas, United States of America. They came in and spent 3 days giving free medical. It's not just consulting. It is about free consultation, like I've said, but free drugs, free eyeglasses, all sorts of things that people ordinarily would not get. And that made a lot of difference. That covered the entire town of Orifite in Anambra State, as well as neighboring towns. And it made a lot of difference in their lives.
As an organization that has contributed tremendously to pipeline development in the Niger Delta region, I asked the chairman of OilServe Limited what can be done to improve the industry.
Industry, no matter how good it is at all times, there will always be room for improvement. Oil as a product or as a commodity is having challenges today. And what are the challenges? Across the whole world, oil is seen as a polluting energy source. And because it's a polluting energy source, we know, but it's a necessary evil. The world will not be where we are today without oil and gas, because how do you develop the world? How you grow capacity in the world? It's about the availability of energy. Oil and gas has been developed to be an energy source that is common across the world and has been used to achieve so much. The world is trying to transmute from oil and gas into renewables and into more sustainable energy sources. And oil is being attacked as we speak. And you may know there is the issue of defunding of oil, defunding of gas by the Western world mostly. And they are doing this because over the past 10, 15 years, they've been able to introduce programs that is like right now moving them away from oil and gas. If you look at the energy mix in most Western countries, you are looking at energy mix where renewables today in some countries is up to 30%. Germany is moving very strongly to the extent that in the next 10, 15 years, they can easily say that 80% of their energy source is renewable. So that brings us to Nigeria. Nigeria is a country that depends a lot for its foreign exchange earnings on oil and gas. It's significant. That's what brings us the foreign exchange, and more than any other thing. So where we are today, you can see that as of today, oil has jumped up in the past few months, heading to the 80s. But don't forget, a couple of years ago, it dropped all the way. In fact, a few years ago, it dropped all the way to the 20s. It's a cycle. What is the significance of this? What it means is that at all times, when the policymakers, as far as oil and gas is concerned in Nigeria, when they engage, it's good for them to see what this represents, that oil is not constant in any way, constant in terms of pricing, constant in terms of significance. Nigeria needs to step up its game, because in the next 5 to 15 years, I give that wide gap because it depends on what happens in the world, oil and gas will be challenged. But gas is slightly different. Gas will form the medium-term energy move, and that's where Nigeria should locate. But gas cannot be utilized if it is not developed and the right infrastructure, especially transportation and storage infrastructure, kept in place. Oil, you can pump oil from the ground, keep oil in the tank for as long as you wish, and then do what you want with it. Gas, unfortunately, when you bring out gas, you must move it and use. You cannot store gas. The only way to store gas is to convert it to, say, methanol or LNG, or use it to develop urea, whatever it is, especially for gas. But you cannot take gas and store and use just in the gaseous form. It's not possible because you don't have the space to do that. What it means is that when you get into development of gas, which is, you're talking of upstream activity, you have to talk of the midstream and the downstream at the same time. Otherwise, you cannot develop it. Nigeria should invest. I give kudos to the federal government in this. In the past years, NNPC, together with the IOCs, but particularly NNPC, has developed a proper gas plan. And this gas plan is being implemented. One part of it today is the Nigerian Gas Master Plan, which addresses the infrastructure, especially what you can call the transmission lines for gas distribution in Nigeria. If we can move this gas across the whole Nigeria and we utilize this gas, Nigeria will develop very quick. So today, out of the whole system of Nigerian Gas Master Plan, OB3, which is Obiafo Obricom to Oben pipeline, which is a 48-inch pipeline, is virtually finished. We built most of it and commissioned our own section. We are now building the Ajokuta-Kaduna-Kano pipeline. OilServe is also building half of that segment. That will enable gas to be moved from the midpoint of Nigeria, which is Ajokuta, all the way to Kano. Of course, subsequently, there will be spur lines. But once you provide this pipeline in place, it enables you to create the impetus and the commercial status to be able to evacuate the gas that is existing within the eastern sector and the southern sector, which means southeast and south-south. You also be able to feed that gas to Ajokuta, and it's not just to feed AKK. By feeding to Ajokuta, you open the gas to be used within southeast and south-south. So you have an integrated system. So when we talk of feeding gas to Kano, it's not just about Kano. It's very important to get there, but also it's about feeding gas across the whole country to create a network of gas pipelines that enables Nigerians to benefit. Today, in the West, it's already existing. We built, from 2001, for about 12 years, we built the 4 phases of gas distribution system in Lagos environment. From Ikeja, Ilupeju, Ilasamaja, we went down to Igomu, we went down to the Nigerian Post Authority, to Tinkan, and then interconnected back to Mile 2, to Amuwo-Odofin. We fed all those industries. And that's why Lagos and the environments, they are doing well in terms of energy availability for industries. That's what we want to replicate in the whole country. And that will change the future of Nigeria. We believe strongly that that's one area where the policy trust of the government, working together with private sector, can help. In fact, today it's gotten to a stage where we are in position, just like a few other private companies, to go and source funds and help develop all these possibilities. And that is in gas. I'm talking about gas most importantly because gas will remain in ascendancy, will remain a major anchor and corner point for Nigerian energy policies and integrated system.
Almost 3 decades gone already. Let's say another 3 decades. Where do you see OilServe Limited? Thank
you. You know, when you said another 30 years, I was going to ask you, I said, I hope you're not talking about me running business in 30 years. Anyway, I fully understand. OilServe has gone a very long way to be where we are, almost 30 years now. We celebrated our 25th year anniversary already, and we have achieved a lot. What we've achieved has been mostly within the energy sector. Although we have stepped out of it a bit, we have also, in the past few years, set up Excel Farms Limited. We have gone into farming, and farming is not just about farming, it's about industrial farming, which is processing. And we've gone into looking at and dealing with cassava and tomato. And the whole idea is to build capacity that will be able to not only farm these, say, cassava and tomato, but to have our growers came to be able to empower communities to farm and give us the feed into the plant. And the plant we have will give us HMS, high maltose fructose, and then also we also producing starch, and what can be used mostly for industrials and then pharmaceuticals. So why I mention that is we are basically trying to balance our carbon footprint by going into agriculture and by also developing from that agriculture the waste. We do use the waste as our plan. We haven't done that yet. We use the waste to generate power by means that we know very well. But that is biomass and all that. But what I'm trying to say here is that OilServe has started looking forward. Our strategy today is to build on what we have developed and be able to move not just in the oil industry, but to have a balanced business. Balanced in the sense that we are going into renewables. Besides developing gas, we are going into gas in order to build up a gas development system and be able to also go downstream of gas to be able to set up methanol plants, be able to set up urea plants, and be able to basically have the gas useful in the mix within the country. That's one area. The other area is renewables, and we are looking strongly at solar power and the storage system for that. We plan to invest a lot in this. But outside that, we are developing our exploration and production systems very strongly. In the course of my talk, I did not mention to you that besides EPC of pipelines, we have also exploration and production arm. The company that is wholly owned by OilServe is called Frazoil Exploration and Production Limited. And we have already a block in Benin Republic that we are developing at the moment. We have portfolio investments within some assets in Nigeria. We intend to build that up also. We're not looking at OilServe being seen just as a Nigerian company. It should be a company that is internationally focused and looking at balanced strategy to make sure that we can continue to drive our business going forward. Definitely, as we grow the business in the next 30 years, we will continue to develop people within the company. One thing you know, and OilServe is known about is the fact that we don't take the welfare of our workers or people around us, we don't take it for granted. But beyond people in OilServe, we're a people-driven organization. Again, like I said, it is based on my own principle of life. We intend to continue to impact positively on the lives of people. We want OilServe to be a company that when it is mentioned, people will feel good about the company and know that that company is a company that should be a destination for everybody in terms of the way we do business, in terms of the way we treat people, in terms of the way we grow the Nigerian system. And that's what gives us happiness.
And that's where we draw the cuttings on today's edition of Kaleidoscope. Don't forget to watch past editions. Go to youtube.com/channelsweb, scroll to playlist, and then get past editions of the program. Thanks a lot for watching. Please stay safe. I'll see you again soon. I'm Anne Nwawadu.